today Jinri is here to learn Rust. Yay! So, teach me well, teachers. So, when you guys hear the word Rust, what comes to your mind? A streamer game? Is Rust a streamer game? Video game. Video? Bucket? Why bucket? Car? 이게 그건가 보다. Survival? Why nail? Wait, why? These are all so random. Oh, rusty nails and rust. Brown. Oh, it's very unique, guys. Okay, well, let's see what Rust is using Wikipedia, guys. Okay, so Rust, the programming language. Rust is a multi-paradigm general-purpose programming language. You know, side story, you know what's interesting is to learn these big words. I think that would be some fun thing to do, is learn about the big words related to Rust. Like, or related to programming. Buzzwords. Programming buzzwords would be another fun content to look into. I'm gonna write that. Anyways, moving. Sorry. So Rust is a multi-paradigm general-purpose programming language designed for performance and safety. Everything's always about safety, especially safety concurrency. Syntactically similar to C++, Rust is notable for enforcing memory safety. What is memory safety, guys? Yeah, don't ask me. What the heck is... I forgot what garbage collector is, so don't ask. 그런 거 물어보지 마세요. 안쓰럽게. Memory, so I'm guessing memory is in data memory? Or what is this memory part? Safe usage of memory. One way to do that is with a garbage collector. Oh shoot, this is related to garbage collecting. Oh. You need to manage how to allocate and free, is it like data memory? Like gigabyte, megabyte, you know, like storage? Is that the same thing as memory? To store. Oh, okay. That all reference point to valid memory without requiring the use of garbage collector and reference counting like other safe language. Memory safe language. So this language is not trying to use garbage collector, but is trying to enforce memory safety. That is so confusing. Memory safety is enforcing by the compiler's borrow checker, which tracks object lifetime and variable scope as references are passed throughout the program. Rust is considered a systems programming language with mechanisms for low-level memory management, but also offers high-level features like functional programming. Okay. So first appeared 2010, designed by Graydon Hoare, I'm guessing, at Mozilla Research with contributions from Dave Herman, Brendan, Designers reinforced the language while writing. Rust has seen adoption in industries by companies including Amazon, Discord, Dropbox, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. So all of these need store cleaning, store management, memory management, storage, cleaning, so anything that has data involved. Well, everything has data. Oh, storage. So what kind of storage do you have to manage? I'm thinking like physically a storage, but the image of storage in terms of programming language isn't sticking to my head. I don't know what I should be thinking. All programs need memory management. Depending on the language, you either have to do it manually or via a garbage collector. Oh, I think you should be thinking data in terms of memory allocation. When you run a program, you reserve a chunk of memory to hold that data. Guys, can we make a meme of me saying but then below when she actually doesn't know it, like that kind of thing? Because thank Jinri, thank man. Guys, there's intern feels Dankman, by the way. we have that emote. Oh, okay. Yeah. So all program needs memory management depending on the language. You either have to do it manually via garbage collector, but this one is doing it manually. Rust is unique because it's the first programming language that gives you automatic memory safety without the use of garbage collector. So this one, you don't need to use anything. You don't need a garbage man. Yeah, or you don't have to be the garbage man. It does it automatically for you. But it's like C++. So if you have experience programming in C++, it'd be really easy to use Rust and don't have to deal with memory management. Oh, wow. Yeah, so this is automatic garbage man. Yeah, we can think it like that. Okay. I'm getting there. The compiler is the garbage man? Then what is Rust? It's automatic garbage thingy, no? Automation taking more jobs? Yeah, I guess so. So kind of like C or C++ memory, but a lot of more safety. So then a lot of people must be using Rust. I'm guessing we already have mentioned a lot of these companies that are using it more. Rust has been noted for its growth as a newer language and has been studied academically. Rust has been voted the most loved programming language since 2016 and was used by 7%. Is this a lot? Wait, it's being most loved, but how many people use Rust? Oh, I've never... Wow. Never heard about it. So continuing with the history, let's start. My favorite portion. Rust grew out of the personal project begun in 2006 by Mozilla employee. On internet relay chat, Graydon has stated that Rust got its name from rust fungi. Fungi? Fungi. 뭐지? Fungi 아니야? Oh shoot. Fungi, 맞지? It's fungi. Okay, I was right. Oh shit. Phew. I knew my English. I knew it. I knew my English. Anyways, so he stated that Rust got its name from rust fungi and as a subsequence of robust. Oh really? Oh. So everyone who mentioned about Rust or where the name comes from, everyone got it wrong. No one actually mentioned fungi, but this is very interesting that he thought about fungi. Mozilla began sponsoring this project in 2009 and announced the project in 2010. Same year, work has shifted from the initial compiler written in OCaml, I don't know what this is, to an LLVM. I heard about this. Based self-hosting compiler written in Rust. The compiler's name, rustc, has successfully compiled itself in 2011. So rustc, this is the garbage man. I'm guessing since it's a compiler. And I think it's just saying basically in 2011 everything was doing so well. Like thumbs up, guys. The first numbered pre-alpha version of the Rust compiler was released in January 2012, Rust 1.0. The first stable release was released on May 15th, 2015. A lot of versions were updated, so I guess if you guys are interested in learning about the updated version of Rust, feel free to read ahead of this portion. But personally, for a newbie like me, it doesn't... This is brain fog. But something interesting, August 2020. I love these. This is interesting talk area. But Mozilla laid off 250 of its 1,000 employees worldwide as part of a corporate restructuring caused by the long-term impact of COVID pandemic. That's so sad. Team behind Servo, a browser engine written in Rust, was completely disbanded. Event raised concerns about the future of Rust, as some members of the team were active contributors to Rust. So maybe after COVID hit, lots of Rust programmers uh, was laid off. That's so bad. In the following week, the Rust core team acknowledged the several impact of the layoff and announced the plans for Rust Foundation were underway. So, there's more things. Google's announced support for Rust within Android open source project as an alternative to C and C++. So it's still, to this day, somewhat popular. Although people are, people got laid off and everything, but they are making good updates for Rust, and I think they're doing a good job. And lots of I think the most important thing is the fact that lots of big companies use it, like AWS, Huawei, Google, Microsoft, and Mozilla. One of the top, like all of them, like are top brands. Even like we have some things, we have two things, and I guess Microsoft. So everyone's favorite syntax. Here is a hello world program written in Rust. The print line exclamation macro print da 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 da. I'm guessing fn is a function, and that it creates a main. It creates a main function, and in the main function, what you're asking to do is print line. But it's funny that they do an exclamation. It's like you're yelling at them. Print hello world. The syntax of Rust is similar to C and C++, as you guys mentioned, with blocks of code delimited by curly brackets. Oh, yeah, like this one. And control flow keywords such as if, else, while, and for. So this is similar to normal language. Grayed out like really short keywords like fn and let. Oh, what does let do? That is not that common, so that's interesting. Chat, yeah, so now if you learned a new programming language, you can be like you can just be like putting exclamation in anything and be like, excuse me, I'm writing Rust. You can show off your programming skills. Same thing as let in JS. Oh, I actually never used let. Yeah, you forgot exclamation donate. So, moving on, we do have some other code down here like factorial. I'm guessing, I don't know what U64 is. Are they asking for the factorial of 64? What is U64 in this? And then iterative implementation using the ... equal sign operator to create an inclusive range. So from 2 to I dot product. It's overall the programming is the language itself seems very simple. Like you don't need lots of code required to create a code. Unsigned 64-byte integer. Oh, that's you. Oh. More advanced features in Rust include the use of generic functions to achieve type polymorphism. What is this? The following is a Rust program to calculate the sum of two things for which addition is implemented using a generic function. Wow. Wow. So it acts like a normal code, but I've never programmed in C++, so I'm guessing this is how it normally looks like when you program using C++. I'm guessing, I'm not quite sure, but maybe. And yada yada yada. Some of the features that Rust is using, I think this is the most important thing, is memory safety. Rust is designed to be memory safe. It does not permit null pointers, dangling pointers, or data erases. I'm guessing these are like key terms related to memory safe. So that's extra study that needs to be done. Data values can be initialized only through a fixed set of forms, all of which require their input to be already initialized. To replicate pointers being either valid or null, such as in linked list or binary tree data structures, the Rust core library provides an option type, which can be used to test whether a pointer has some value or none. Rust has added syntax to manage lifetimes, which are checked at compile time by the borrow checker. Unsafe code can subvert some of these restrictions using the unsafe keyword. I think the most important thing related to memory safety, if you're not gonna like program in Rust, but someone like me who is trying to figure out what language to learn that seems the most interesting, is if you want to do something that automates related to memory, maybe use Rust. Is what I'm getting from this paragraph, because they are using lots of techniques that I've no clue what they are. So I'm this made me get brain fog. This is brain fog moment. That list are cause of programming error. These ones, the null pointer, dangling pointer, and data racing, and runtime errors. So these are all runtime errors. Oh. Also, it doesn't permit these automatically. I don't have to do this manually. Okay. So memory management, we also mentioned Rust does not use Rust does not use automated garbage collection. Okay. So it doesn't use this garbage collection thing. Memory and other resources are managed through the resource acquisition and initialization convention with optional reference counting. So this is the technique that they're using. Resource acquisition is initialization convention. Wow. Wow. But it has an optional reference counting. Rust provides deterministic management of resources with very low overhead. Rust favors stack allocation of values and does not perform implicit boxing. Boxing? Like physical boxing? There is a concept of reference, which does not involve runtime reference counting. So we gotta figure out what this reference counting is to understand more of memory management, to understand this better. The safety of such pointers is verified at compile time, preventing dangling pointers and other forms of undefined behavior. Rust type system separates shared, immutable pointers of the form anti from unique mutable pointers of the form muti. Wait, so guys, what is this pointer that they're mentioning here? So couple of questions I got while reading this is pointers. Like when I think of pointers, you know, the mouse pointer, that's what I'm thinking about. But I don't think that's that. And another question is, what is reference counting? I never done C, that's why maybe I'm not understanding half this paragraph. So pointer equals reference. Uh-oh. It keeps count of how many things reference it. So when I'm referencing a variable, data, memory, when I'm referencing a data, then I'm using memory. And I keep track of how much that data has been referred. And then reference counting is counting how many. It's like Python. I don't understand it. Holds the memory address of a variable. So here, when they're saying reference, it's the variable. How many times the variable has been mentioned? Is that correct? A to memory to B, two references. A and B reference it. If B goes out of scope, a function variable is B, the count goes to 1. Reference counting tend to be slower than garbage collection since it requires extra work maintaining the count. Kind of understand, I think, what I think it is. So when you're not referring to anything, then does the reference, like in the code, in the command, do they tell you, you're not, hey, A is not being referred, it's 0. Is that how it goes? Like, how does it tell you? With garbage collection, is scan the heap to discover if there is no more reference. It can then mark it for deletion. Deletion? 뭐지? Deletion. That word sounds so weird. Downside GC can cause pauses under certain condition as it needs to do its work. Oh, which can slow the process. Delicious? Deletion? 아니잖아. So its performance is less predictable. That's what makes stuff like Rust and C faster. Wait, so when you're doing garbage collector, do you have to specifically add garbage collector or reference counting to manage memory? But then Rust does it automatically, so you don't really have to. Oh, it runs automatically? Then what's the... but the downside is that it keeps having like pauses. But this one doesn't have pause. Garbage collector is part of the language runtime? Oh, so when you're doing the runtime, it does automatically garbage collection for you. That's smart. The only positive thing about Rust is that there won't be any pauses or any bumps in the way. It runs smoothly and faster is the positive or the advantage that Rust has over other language that uses garbage collection then. This reference counting is very interesting too. And if you don't do any of the memory management, what sucks is that it just becomes very heavy because you're using too much data, too much unused data. There is GC implementations that try to reduce those pauses, but can still be an issue for heavy loads. That still depends on how the programmer codes it, but you have more control over it. Because you have more control over how you want to manage the memory. That's why people use Rust. So is Rust more used for back-end programming or front-end programming or both? Does that matter? Discord recently switched from Go to Rust because of the garbage collection pauses. Oh, really? Did we ever get to feel it? Like, if there are pauses, or is that something that only programmers can feel it when they're writing the code and running the runtime? That's so confusing. Okay, moving on. Ownership. Me too, 삼밀초님. Rust has an ownership system where all values have a unique owner. Wow. They are normally very small pauses, maybe like a stutter of a frame. as a user? Well, that's so cool. So when I kind of feel, oh, it wasn't like that, but when I would have felt a little stutter, I could be like, ah, they wasn't using Rust. Oh, that was garbage collector issue. That would be so awesome. Like, oh. Okay, that sounded so nerdy. But anyways. Moving on. Ownership. Rust has a ownership system where all values have a unique owner. And the scope of the value is the same as the scope of the owner. Values can be passed by immutable reference using NT, by mutable reference, immutable reference using NT, by mutable reference using MUT, or by value using T. At all times, there can either be multiple immutable references or one mutable references. Rust compiler enforces these rules at compile time and also checks that all references are valid. So what is another question? Sorry, I have too many questions. What is immutable reference? Mutable reference and value. I'm guessing value as in variable here. What is immutable is can't change a reference. Reference that can't be changed. This is can be changed. Oh, okay. And wow. Oh, sorry. The Rust books? What is the Rust book? They have a book written about this? It could, or your device is just being slow. Oh, probably my Android phone is so slow. By value means you don't use a reference at all. You just copy the value. Ah, so this isn't actually variable, but this is also related to reference. Reference. That it's not using. So this is, you're using reference that can't be changed. Mutable is reference that can be changed. And then value is that's not even a reference. So they have a lot of features that's very important related to memory management / ownership / anything memory, yada yada yada. And then they also have types and polymorphism. Oh, they were talking about type and polymorphism, which might be also important in knowing why this feature is important. You have to sub to links. Hehe, haha. Sorry. I only let people who sub post links. Hehe. By value is more expensive for bigger objects. When you say expensive, what does that mean? Like dinero? It's funny. Oh, I'm not gonna talk about that right now because it's gonna mess up my focus on Rust. But I think immutable reference means they give you something referring to the actual object, but you can't change the actual object through the reference. Ah. Expensive is using more memory. Value means you get copy of an object. Reference, okay, let's redo. That immutable reference means they give you something referring to an object, but you can't change the actual object to the reference. So if you want to change the actual object, you have to change it with the actual object, not the reference. But then mutable is you can change the actual object using reference. And this is all backend? Like, not related to front end, is it? Wow. And then the fact that wow. This is language feature. Ah. Ah. Ah, so this actually doesn't really relate to. It could work for front end too, though. Because when I think of it, parts of the feature that enable the compiler to do the memory safety. Ah. So this is connected to the language and the compiler itself, not to any specific area slash compiler. Wow. Wow. And it's a way to double check. So then type and polymorphism would be another feature of the language that it provides. It's not a front end, back end software stack concept. Ah. It's what you have to deal with when not using automatic memory management. So someone like me who only knows about front end and back end would be so lost reading this. Because they're like, where is memory related to those two? But actually that doesn't matter. As long as you're using a type of memory and you have memory issue, you use this. Why do you gasp for all sentence? Because it's so crazy. Because I'm used to now that I think about it, guys, Python is so easy. For new programmers to start. I think Rust is the worst language for new programmers to start. If you have string name Jinri, name is a pointer reference, so kind of variable. Its value is like 0x242424, as in point to memory at 0x242424. And if you go to memory at 0x242424, the memory contains value Jinri. Can I gasp for this one? Because I kind of understand this now. Ah, so that's what the reference is. Whereas if you have int x equal 1, x contains value 1, no pointer, just value. Because I'm referring to Jinri as name. Wow. Okay. We will save the conclusion to the end. So Jinri, try not to get to the conclusion right now, but I already have so much to say related to Rust. So let's hold on tight, guys. We're almost there, I think, hopefully. So there are other features, types, polymorphism, macros for language extension that's being used. And we kept talking about C and C++. The interface, I guess it's very similar. So Rust has a foreign function interface that can be used both to call code written in a language such as C and call Rust code from those languages. And Rust also has a library CXX to allow calling to or from C++. So if you're actually familiar with language C or C++, it would be ideal to use this language. Components, beside the compiler and standard library, Rust ecosystem includes additional components for software development. Components installation is typically managed by RustUp, a Rust toolchain installer developed by the Rust project. Component installation, so a way to install Rust, which is called RustUp, like setup. Cargo is Rust build system and package manager. Cargo downloads, compiles, distributes, and uploads packages called crates. This is actually really cool. Build system and package manager. So Cargo is a way to download Rust and also does compiling and uploads packages. Like npm. So kind of so that's what package manager, you know. Okay, I have to guess everything because when you read a sentence and you don't know it, but someone explains to you what the sentence means, it's so interesting because it connects the dots, you know, and you get happy when things start making sense. Cargo requires projects to follow a certain directory structure with some flexibility. Projects using Cargo may be either a single crate or a workspace composed of multiple crates that may depend on each other. The dependencies for a crate are specified in a cargo.toml file along with semver version requirements. There's also Rust FMT, which is a code formatter. Oh, they have a code formatter? That's really cool. Come on. Technical difficulties. Oh my god. This pen thing that I'm using to write on it, if it gets to a certain page, it doesn't extends. So that's a big bug that this thing has, which maybe I should report to them, that saying, hey, anything that gets too long, it doesn't work. So. Continuing, Rust FMT is a code formatter, so I'm guessing you can format using this. Extended, that's always a good question. You ran out of memory! Clippy is Rust built-in linting tool to improve the correctness, IDE support, There's also performance, saying Rust aims to be as efficient and portable as idiomatic C++ without sacrificing safety. And adoption has been adopted by major software engineering companies. Dropbox is now written in Rust, as some components at Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Discord. We just talked about Discord, guys. And the Mozilla Foundation. It's been the third most loving language in the 2015 Stack Overflow annual survey and took first place in 2016 to 2021. So, even till last year, Rust is #1 language? What? What? Then it's Clojure, then TypeScript. What? No one likes... What? Oh wait, this is the extra content we could do. Talk about. It's a move to side. Maybe the plugin uses canvas, has a max height of 32767 px. Oh. Okay, let's save that content for later. We kind of in a blazingly fast meta. What is blazingly, like, so things move faster? There are only two kinds of languages. The one people complain about and one nobody uses. Like, rewriting things in Rust to be faster. Oh! What? Why everything's different? What the heck? We'll talk about that then. Rust is a nightmare? What are you talking about? It's a demon. Worse than nightmare. I was trying to think about a place that's worse than nightmare, but I couldn't think about one. So web browser, we talked about Firefox, obviously, because it's from Mozilla. OpenDNS, then no Figma. Oh, Figma uses Rust. Maybe because Figma has a lot to do with memory. So Redux. I've never heard about any of these right now, but they're also operating for operating systems. So you guys are saying it really doesn't matter front end, back end. If anything that's related to memory and you want something that's faster, you can use Rust. Rust is something easier to use because obviously we have web browsers, services. Maybe this is more towards front end. I'm not sure. Operating systems also a different factor, and then other notable projects. You guys mentioned Discord of its backend, as well as client-side video encoding to augment the core infrastructure written in Elixir. Microsoft Azure, which is the cloud service, and then Polkadot, which is a cryptocurrency. Wow, blockchain platform written in Rust. Damn. And then AWS, must be some sector of AWS is written. In terms of community, there is Rust Conference, so I'm guessing it's an annual conference in Portland, Oregon. Ooh, this is something that would be awesome to go visit, guys. Any of these programming related content. Rust Belt Rust, another conference. And then Rust Fest is European Rust Language Conference. That's cool. Oh, okay. And then some Rust users refer themselves as Rustacean. Oh, that's so cute. So this is their fan mascot. Oh my god. And then there's some teams. There's the Rust Foundation. And that's all about Rust. So let's talk about the conclusion then. We now know Rust. Are you sure? You're sure we know Rust? I only know PHP and JavaScript. I feel obsolete. Dude, I'm not a programmer. I don't even know anything. So I know it's number one. So let's talk about the conclusion about Rust. I have so much to say about Rust, its language. Shockingly, people are saying this is number one loved language. But I'm quite not sure about this. I see a lot of potentials. I think, but to know more about Rust, you have to really understand the concept of memory and what you can do in terms of management or safety. So if you but I think this has a good future potential. I know I always mention about I don't know, some other languages, but I think at one point, since a lot of the big companies are using Rust, this is something that you could use in the future to get a good job, honestly. Maybe. I'm not sure. Question mark. Maybe good job? Oops. E should not be that good. Go program something in Rust, boss? Really? In Rust, you can trust. Oh! Is that their slogan? That's a good slogan that they should use. In Rust, you can trust, obviously, since it relates to safety, right? Safer to learn, one of the big ones. So this isn't a good language to learn. Don't learn this. And then anything else you guys wanted to add in with the conclusion? I know I used Wikipedia, which might not have a very good description related to it, or in terms of programmer side, it might not have what you guys want in terms of documentation and everything. So very the best idea, and it's there. People are saying their website has very good source and that it's also free. So you should use it. And however, only those who are into studying should learn Rust, I think. So if you like to be in pain, if you like suffering, if you're kind of like M, if you're like a majo, I guess you should learn Rust because it's so hard. So guys, what I remember from reading related to Rust, number one, memory management, I think was the biggest key that stood out. And I learned about 2, reference and pointer. And that 3, Rust is hard. And requires lots of study. So, any other things you guys want to add related to Rust? Feel free to leave a comment below, or anything you guys want to add to my YouTube video right now before I do my closing things would be great, because I want to get away from this language. It's so disgusting. What is this? Don't. It killed my brain. I honestly had to suffer trying to learn this for an hour. Yeah, so that would be something interesting extended to make a separate content really about that. So anyways, that was Rust for you guys. I hope you guys learned something, especially those non-programmers who are interested in learning about Rust, or people who wanted to learn or hear the shallow version of what Rust is. Definitely check this video out. Other than that, I am done with Rust. And I hope to never see this. Don't force me. Maybe we can do a vote later in the future, since I will be planning on doing a monthly program language learning content, to pick which language to actually suffer and learn. So yeah, but from my channel, it will be very hard to hear what Rust is, or the word Rust, because I don't think I will ever learn this anytime soon. So that's all. Thanks for listening about Rust, and I hope you guys enjoyed my little my little learning session. And thank you to my interns who were amazing teachers for Rust. Yeah. Cut. Okay. You. I don't know if I should have said presentation. Maybe it's not really.